Here we are, and this will close out Group C, and this is freaking hype. We've got Barles. He is in the red, and for me, sorry, Nilly. And he's playing. Well,
Okay.
whatever. It doesn't matter. He could be in the purple for all we know. But he's playing as the Magyars here in the northwest of the map. And I'll tell you what, he's looked really good, but things aren't necessarily certain for him. He could go to playoffs today if he ends up getting a 3-0 against Andy. Or he would be relegated if he gets 3-0'd by Andy. And Andy needs a 3-0 to get first place over Hera. Should be exciting times here, Nilly.
Yeah, there's just so much on the line. We could even see some wild scenarios like Ganji could still get 4th and 5th depending on that set.
Yep.
Jordan has the eyes on it. Hera obviously wants to probably prefer getting first. So yeah, this is a set that actually is relevant for 5 people in a 6-man group.
Yeah, which is wild. I know there's been some crazy things in the past, like last season in Platinum, it came down to the final round, and big names got relegated, and Nikov and Vinchester, I think, in Group A. But
And MBL, right?
yeah, MBL and Capwatch in other groups too. But in all honesty, this group has really stood out above all of that. Maybe it's recency bias. I don't know. Andy Lithuanians, he's going for an early dock here on Spiral, which is our neutral map to start the series. He had the weaker scout, and he wandered over to the other little fenced area with the berries and is going to get the food there, which Barles did on the other side. And, I kind of like both civilizations here, and I've actually seen both players win with these civs. Andy won against one player, I forget who. I'm tempted to say it was Jordan, or maybe Ganji with Lithuanians, and Barles beat Ganji with Magyars and beat Jordan with Magyars on this map.
Ooh, okay. Magias also with Land Madness in the pool, something I could have seen there, but might just play Franks. And that's interesting to see Magias here. Obviously, no bonus at all when it comes to potentially going for fish. And this is 5 on wood already, so he obviously is going for the fish and has to count on his scouts, but faster moving spearmen for Lithuanians could be nice.
So I do think that there will be a difference in how players kind of approach aggressive aspects of this game. It's going to be hard for me to explain. But the thing I've seen from Barles with his scout plays, which we have to assume he'll do, is that he's just constantly on the prowl searching for damage. Like, there is not a second he is not relocating. It's like, I can't find damage here, boom, hitting the next spot, hitting the next spot. And it's just happening all the time. Andy, to me, is more of the macro player between the two of them. He would opt for the spearman approach. He might not be focusing so much on like the main army, Nilly, and maybe like splitting up a bunch of different groups. So that's just something to look for here. I, of course, have no clue what's actually going to happen, but I'm just thinking about how they've played leading up to this point.
For me, the signature move of Andy is he reaches Castle Age and instantly drops 2 monasteries at home.
Okay.
And just plays mass monks. But if we think about Magyars, probably the civilization that we should see most scouts and light cap with.
Yeah, that's true.
So Andy's kind of taken away one of his weapons.
But here's the other thing, though. It's like people, when they thought about Andy coming into this, they thought like monks and eco, and maybe he gets some wins that way. Andy hasn't had many YOLO monk games. It's been meta stuff. Like, and I even heard like Viper in the little GL Town Center podcast, and he was like, well, yeah, Andy's done well, but there's lots of clowny maps, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's winning on Lands Madness. He's winning on Spiral. He's winning on the open maps, and he's winning playing Standard Age of Empires. So I think what makes him really unique, and Barles is actually in the same category, if they need to do the monk thing, they could do it, but they do not have to do it.
And honestly, like the Spiral game against Terra, Viper apparently didn't see that one. Otherwise, he wouldn't be that unfair towards FreakinAndy. That was a very clean, incredibly impressive macro game.
Yeah, seriously. I'm excited. We know Andy's in playoffs. We know that much, right? We'll know after this series, of course, if Barles is in playoffs or Jordan. But I'm excited to see him play up against some of those names who hadn't faced up against him in the group. Look at Andy. Experience coming into week 5 has paid off a little bit. He's gone forward dock. Barles has not scouted that villager that walked forward. And I think it's one thing to have to contest for your own fish on this map, but it's a completely other thing if you don't even scout it until it happens. This could be really awkward for the food eco for Barles.
He won't be on gold. It will be 2 fire galleys against 1 maximum. Tries to scout the front now.
Yeah.
And sees no dock. He will be happy with this scout.
Yeah. So he'll think, okay, the potential for the dock was there. It hasn't happened. I've been thorough. He might have just set waypoints with the other fishing ship, though. Oh, now he sees it. Oh, that's good play from Barles, though, honestly. He maybe still has a chance at stabilizing this area now.
Instantly sends villagers onto gold. Clever play.
That's so good. Like, these guys are just amazing players. And Andy then quick walls his villager there against the Magyar scout. Could have easily lost that villager. So impressive play all around. Andy didn't have loom, actually. Pretty wild
now the
stuff.
villager's in danger again.
But she's loomed.
Spearman obviously helping out quite a bit here. And yeah, that villager's going to fall.
I'm not so certain. Andy says no.
What? I said the villager's going to fall.
She didn't fall. Villager's still alive there behind this for Andy. Andy has a barracks and Spearman will be coming forward. But FreakinAndy is giving us some entertainment here thus far. Barles will have scouts on the field with the Magyars. Great job from him, but at least contest for his pond. It still hurts so much that to have all this happening. But he still could maybe keep that alive and get some counterattacks in.
Now no repair for the fishing ships here. Oi, 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 oi. And yeah, fire galley simply goes down.
Yep. So you're just getting a little bit more value from your fishing ships if you're Barles. And now that villager's going to run away. Want to look at the eco for Barles, but also his scouting. He hasn't actually found his opponent yet, Nilly. That's a pretty big deal. Because he has the scouts on the field, but he doesn't really know where to go just yet.
Well, on this map, you kind of know, right? Because it's always built symmetrical.
Yeah.
So, like, you should know exactly the TC spot of your opponent.
Yeah, I agree with you. That villager for Andy must be out there somewhere. She's actually making the mill on the berries on that side. So she's living a very bold life. Eco KD is just 1-0. Total KD is now 2-2. But Barles has found it difficult to find the damage with the scouts. You would have hoped for him that he would have been more active with the scout numbers, because that's the difference in the build. One person goes water, one person goes scouts. And he'll still be looking. He hasn't actually checked the berries here. So Barles struggling, I think, with the pressure that Andy's been sending his way thus far.
Interestingly enough, Andy built a fire galley on his own pond.
Ooh. There is a hole for Andy on the right side. There is a hole there. He thinks it's walled. He has not checked that. I wonder if Barles will assume, or if Barles even attacking the stable now, which feels like the worst spot to attack. I wonder if that will maybe influence Andy's decisions, and maybe Andy could check that. Now, scouts from Andy are here, and he is just going to town here on this pond. And with the scouts and the fires, he will take out the fire there from Barles.
Nice. Spearman helping out as well. And Andy wins that pawn. And honestly, he could even add a galley and to rest the gold a bit.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I just thought of that as well. It's kind of rare that players fully lose their pond, but also that the gold is there. It's unfortunate for Barles, but it's part of the map. As Barles loses all of his scout advantage on the other side, those 2 scouts that remain are very weak.
Early market from Andy. Like, we're pretty far away from even having the option to buy ourselves to Castle Age. It's surprising, but also market from Barles.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how they both have done it. Only 2 villagers on the berry area for Andy. They are protected by 1 spear. Of course, the 1 villager is still very weak. Thus far, we have just seen so much movement and aggression here, haven't we, Nilly? It's just been constant action.
Yeah, it's just like their keyboards have to be burning here. Like how many groups they controlled, how many units they moved around while fighting on the pond. Crazy.
Yeah, and neither player really took like incredibly bad engagements, but I would say for Barles, the key thing was just the scouts. But This is a big reason for the Lithuanians. Just, you know it's going to be scouts from Magyars, so just simply toss spearmen everywhere.
And it helps in the water fight, right? The extra damage for the spearmen.
Yeah.
Just so nice. Ooh, the scouts saw the hole.
Unfortunately,
the
they're
hole.
very weak.
Yeah, they need friends for this.
Yeah, you do not want to go in there at all and scout anything, because if Andy spots you, then Andy will know. And, I mean, it's so important every game in this series for both players. When the series ends, I kind of hope we don't look back at that one tile gap as something that would have made all the difference for both of them. Wow,
Okay,
what a
let's
weird
take a
spot to
look.
be in if you're Barles with that gold. Nearly no ranges yet for Barles. He did go Cav Archers. Both times he won with the Magyars.
Well, Cav Archer's really nice on this map, right? You have the mobility, you can simply punish people for walling too small, you're scaling well with Megas as well, and that's why he's dropping the archery ranges.
Yep. Love the decision from Andy to have villagers near the areas on the side here. And Barles, he brought the other scouts around. I guess you wait for bloodlines and wait for Castle Age and hope to kill some villagers with these things.
4 scouts there.
There's going to be more. Look, there's 2 more. In the north, they're looping over that way.
When are you moving in?
Not
Before
now.
Castle Age, she goes.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, maybe you feel like you know it's open now, so you've got to take the damage. Andy just fights it off. Andy doesn't actually lose that much. And I think Andy will be satisfied with losing 1 villager as long as this can get walled. Barles needs to block with that scout.
Oh, this felt underwhelming. Just imagine 2 more vills there
Yep.
with now the +2 attack. I think 5 villagers are dying, and now we only saw 1 dying.
A big moment there. And he realizes there's a hole, gets away with 1. Is making TC number 2 on the wood and the gold on the left-hand side. Doesn't have a strong answer to Cav Archers. If the Cav Archer mass happens, it could be really awkward. Cav Archer's great against pikes. But of course, that is if the mass happens. Andy should have the better eco with the second TC. And of course, having the fishing ships this whole time. Do you go Siege
Fish,
Workshop or
though.
Monastery right now, if you're Andy?
Well, I think Andy prefers Monastery over the Siege Workshop. And I think the CA simply still being at home and needing to clear up the water first buys you enough time to delay your Siege Workshop a bit more.
Look at where Andy has focused with his units here. So obviously he's TC'd the left, but he scouted that whole left side to see that Barles didn't TC there. And then he also had sent pikemen to the other area. So he's very well aware of how to play this map and where to focus on in the long run. I'm really impressed by that. And it's those types of things that become really important on Spiral, because Barles does not have gold access anywhere else right now other than this new TC.
Barely any left at the starting town center. Whew. Nice awareness. And maybe is that the spot where you want to build the Siege Workshop then?
I would normally say yes, but then you kind of want siege near your town centers on the left.
Yeah.
So it's actually really complicated. It would have made life so much easier had Barles gone to the left side with that TC.
Yeah.
So I don't
Maybe
know.
that's why he moved away.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same thing with Barles, right? If you look at Barles, the scouting, Barles incredibly active. He knows that the TC's there on the left. He might consider a Siege Workshop. And he's also going to head to the wood line of Andy, because this seems like a pretty good spot to be able to find some kills.
Relic count 0 still so far.
Yep.
We have 3 relics at the left hand side, 1 always spawning in the center. Not unlikely that Andy might even get to 4 relics.
Yeah, and then maybe we see knights. Let's see that happening. I like how Andy's actually pulled the villagers that were on the berries on the right, and they're going to come to the left berries now. They're like, we feel too exposed over there.
Nice move.
Big eco lead for Andy, but I really believe in the CA. The Cav Archers could be really good. And there's 13 of them now. Bloodlines is in, Bodkin is in.
No
And-
upgrades on the pikes. They should fall quite easily.
And Knights as well. Like, who cares how much attack you have on the Knights if the Cav Archer mass is so large? that the Knights die before they get to close in. And third TC for Barles. What a great job from Barles.
This could be a long game.
Yeah,
Absolutely
seriously.
love it.
Also, Barles needs to move because there's a demo on the way from Andy's dock, and thankfully for him, he is moving. Actually making a demo from the other dock as well, so we have plenty of demo potential.
But the moment you see a flag, you should be scared.
Do you think, like... It's so
No,
tricky.
Tristan.
Yeah?
Okay. I thought you were going to say, do you think building a fishing ship and putting the flag in there so that the opponent doesn't run over it to save resources? I thought that's where you wanted to go.
No. That's you've casted with Dave too frequently. That's a Dave thing, all right?
Okay.
Dave obviously loves to make the demos too, so he would be torn. So I think, like, in my mind, skirms would make some level of sense here. But I also fully understand how natural it feels to make Knights when you're going to have 2 relics. So I think, like, what Andy's doing now, adding Siege, does make sense, but Barles has made it really difficult to find the right spot with the Siege. Because now the Siege is going in an area where it's not really going to be helpful right now, with Barles having the Cav Archers on the other side.
And that's why I actually predicted Byzantines initially, right? Because it feels like you have a counter to everything, and you can have mobility with the camels.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cheap camels too, so you can boom on 3 TCs and still make camels, whereas here there's no discount on Knights, right? It's just you have the strength of the Knights. I like Knight Scorpion. Knight Scorpion I think is good. It's just, will Andy be able to have everything in the right position? Because it's easy for things to be split up, and if it's split up, this is going to happen. Scorpion's exposed, Barles on the hill, Barles gets the kill. And that's a Scorpion down that maybe could have been saved for Andy.
No more Scorpions in the queue. This is really good for Barles.
He's got Scorpion in the Siege Workshop. TC, of course, that's 15 villagers in there that need to be working right now. That is part of the eco lead that Andy has, and this could be the 3rd game in this season where Barles ends up winning with Magyar Cav Archers on this map. 31 of them.
Vision from Barles. 3 outposts there. He sees every movement.
Yeah, seriously. And he's reacting so quickly, right? Reacts on the left-hand side, still pushing on the right-hand side. I love the eco management, the eco balance. Everything from Barles beyond maybe just Bowsaw is just spot on right now.
Yeah, TCs are running, CA numbers are looking really hot. Ballistics now finishes as well. Finds another good pickoff.
And still more Cav Archers headed over to the other wood line too. Like, this is the small stuff. Like, to deny that while also doing everything else is just insane.
Oh, both wood lines. He's
Yeah.
in both wood lines.
Oh my god, yeah, he's everywhere. We might be close to a GG, honestly, if the Knights don't find a good engagement soon for Andy. It's just Andy doesn't know where to go. Barles is simply everywhere.
Oh, absolutely crazy. And both players heavily on stone. Andy now pushed away from it. That means Barles could maybe even build a castle next to the 2 town centers of Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what might happen. We've got villagers that have died in multiple locations now. 18 eco kills from Barles. Andy hasn't reacted to every single area, and how could he? And reminder that if Barles wins this game, Andy is guaranteed to be 2nd place. Wait. Yes, maybe.
Yep.
Well, Andy is definitely not first. That would mean Hera is first. Big raids, actually, from Andy. Killed a couple villagers from Barles, but even still, Barles reacted and is now quick-balling his woodline Nilly. Oh, my goodness. This is sick.
That was really nice as well. And yeah, CA still staying active. You have to love how Barles is playing this. KD is looking really solid, and he will fight the villagers moving forward as well.
Yeah, there's just idle time and all the TCs for Andy. Andy wants to find different positions for TCs. He cannot get the mass up. He does use the demo there, which is helpful. He does have +2 armor on his Knights. So that's nice, too. If only he had the demo right now. Oh, my God.
Oh god, they're clumped up.
Oh, that would have been so sick. Can Andy bring it back here? Can he stabilize? I'm worried about the other locations for him right now. As Barles is going to drop off gold Nilly. And you expected it. He's going to do it. He's going to drop a castle right here. I honestly would like it even further forward. Place it so it's in range of both TCs.
Oh, you have the Mangonels there to kill the town centers as well. I think if he didn't have siege, it should be a bit closer. But he just wants to have the hill and knows that he can take out the 2 TCs anyways.
Yeah, nice shot there from Andy to try and take out the Mangonel from Barles. Barles instantly repairs it. Barles will complete the castle, and Andy knows it. So we know Hera is now first place in this group, but the bigger ramifications here really go back to Jordan, right? Because Jordan needs Barles to lose a game in this series to still get playoffs. What a performance from Barles. That was disgusting.
Yeah, the CA player just so clean. And Andy, probably too many pikemen. This feels a bit like the Ganji versus Hera play, right?
Yep.
One player having mobility and on maps where you can't really wall. Land Madness and Spiral.
Yeah, lots of pikes to defend from any potential scouts. But, you know, the thought process is get the town centers down earlier, get the Vil lead, and then make army. But he never really could get to a state where he could make army. And the army he chose was knights. Now, anyone who thinks, well, why not skirmishers? It's not that big of an issue to go skirms with Lithuanians because they are speedy skirms. I agree, but then your opponent is one Mangonel away or like 2 or 3 knights away from countering your skirmishers in combination with the CA. So,
or can just go Magia Knights.
Yep. It's so tricky. And honestly, Barles played that so good. He's now won 3 games on Spiral this season with the Magyars. So it is also confirmed that Barles is safe, by the way. He will be in Platinum next season. That should relegate Ganji from what we know. But now the next 2 games are really important, right? For Barles specifically and for Jordan, of course. Because if Barles could do that to Andy, who has 9 wins coming up to this point, I think Barles could absolutely win the next 2. Here we are. And this is game number 2. So just to repeat some things here, what we know now is that Hera is locked at number 1. Ganji and Lan are confirmed relegated. It is just now kind of a waiting game or, play the game and win situation for Barles that Barles can win 3-0. Barles will move into the playoffs, sending Jordan to 4th. That on top of $40 per win, which is obviously quite nice. And Burgundians for Barles and Spanish for Andy, nearly. This should be pretty wild.
I personally believe that Spanish are absolutely crazy. And Inquisition, like, people are already complaining about monks, and monks that are converting faster. How are we not complaining about that more?
Yeah.
I played 1 game with them, and it felt so unfair towards my opponent. I simply won every monk war.
Yeah, and the thing is, the upgrade is super cheap. The Inquisition upgrade is like 350 resources?
Yeah, 100 food, 300 gold, something in that ballpark.
400 resources? Yeah, so, I mean, when you're talking Monk Wars, which it's important to swing one way or the other, it's pretty much a guarantee that with Inquisition you win the Monk War. Now, one thing I actually saw the other day, I saw Spanish versus Teutons on Arabia. It was actually Dark versus Barles, okay? Barles was Teutons making knights, and Dark got Inquisition, and he was converting the Teuton knights like it was nothing. It was so fast. It was kind of cool to see that bonus canceled out. So, talk me through what you did with the Spanish. I know it was a different Civ matchup. I recall the game in Gold League, but like, what's the thought process behind utilizing the monks and Inquisition here, specifically on Zawal?
Well, the moment you pick Spanish, you simply put the threat of conquistadors in the head of your opponent, right? The only 2 options to counter conquistadors are either skirmishers or monks.
Yep.
More natural, it feels to go for monks in those situations because skirmishers don't scale well, they are bad against mangonels, and you never get any aggression, right? So it is a monk v monk war, and suddenly you get an upgrade that you convert other units even faster.
Yep.
And then Burgundians can't really go into that one. They need to quickly collect their 3 resources, their 3 relics, and then Burgundians need to play big economy. Otherwise, they can't win against Spanish.
Yeah, and it does feel like with a couple of these civs where you drop the castle forward here and you break in, if they've got a good enough and unique unit to really force lots of aggressions or lots of decisions from you, it feels like as a defender, you might be like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? It's like, I make all these monks to compete against the conks, but then suddenly my opponent sees that, so they don't actually make any conks, and they just go up to the Imperial Age, and and convert my monks with more range or Inquisition. Then it's like, okay, well, I don't make a lot of monks because I don't want to overinvest. Well, good. Then conquistadors run in.
Yeah.
And then you
And
needed
they
something.
can build petards. Yeah. So like you kind of need to defensive castle, but you won't build any of your costiers.
Yeah, that's true. I could see a world where we saw a castle from Barles on the front, because if there's going to be a player who can figure this out, it's going to be Barles, because I think Barles, he's good with the type of aggression we're expecting from Andy, but I think he's also good against it. But maybe you go for the castle and you just go for like really strong 1 TC eco play into like Cavan Rams. Is there a world where you could do that?
Ooh, it's not easy to scout. The thing is, if you build a castle, where are you building it? Next to your golds?
Yeah, that's where I would build
Then
it.
the opponent simply breaks the site and constantly raids you at home with conks.
Yeah, that's true. Then the conks are still a threat. Could you... it seems excessive, but could you castle and then wall to your castle and make your own wall?
Yes, you can. But if the opponent is playing fast imp and only builds like 2 conks, you lose the trap war.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I hopefully have established for the viewers at home how difficult it is to make the right decisions here. And I think specifically on Zawal, it's been a fun meta shakeup because part of what makes the strategy strong is the fact that the castle drop player can build a castle so far forward on the map and through the only defense for the opponent. If it's arena, there's strategies designed around stopping the villagers walking across the map. And there's that combined with all the stones and golds that are guaranteed to be right beyond the wall and the relics being right beyond the wall. So it's probably not something you shouldn't apply all this logic to an arena game if you're going to play arena later.
No. Arena, it's way easier to deny the forward castle, right? Because you can simply get to the center of the map.
Yep.
Here you can't get to the other side.
Kind of funny there. Do you see where Barles just went with his scout? He just went into that tiny little choke point.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch that one in the Jordan game before? How Jordan hit the one relic?
Oh, I did catch that. Did you happen to catch...
Yeah.
Did you happen to see the Valles Lix series on this game?
No.
So Lix was all in monks and eagles into a forward castle in Barles' base. Or not Barles' base, Valles' base. Valles was melee, and similar to what Barles is doing, he kind of had walled up with buildings. So he had a big villager lead, but there's a castle on his face and trebs and whatnot. Valles needed safe farming eco, and he was farming, I'm not kidding, like look in the very north where the wall meets the edge of the map. He was farming there.
Oh, wow.
He like squeezed farms into that area so he couldn't be found, and then actually had broke through the wall on the side and just TC'd on Lix's side because Lix had gone through another opening. So it was pretty wild.
Wasn't Lux the one trying to Dark Edge Villager Rush?
Yeah, in the first round, I was so annoyed with that.
No.
Like I said, all I ask is like just load up into a scenario, test a thing or two. Didn't see much of that from Lix. And I think Lix, even if he would have prepared really hard this season, I think he still would have struggled. But the lack of preparation was a little disappointing for me to see.
No. Andy with the second lumber camp. Oh, so this won't be the 1 TC all in, only 3 on gold as well. And doesn't have a lot of villagers prepared to naturally go and build the forward castle here.
So you think it's the second TC and then the castle?
No, it will be the castle, but a slow one. I think he will
Yeah.
send like 5 villagers to the front.
Yeah, I could see it. I think the more notable thing here is that Barles sold his stone. He's not mining stone, and he
wow.
sold his stone.
This is then double monk defense into buying back stone? Double
Or
monastery
into
defense?
like 2 monasteries, really strong 1 TC eco into fast Imperial monk bomber cannon?
Should always die if the opponent plays the same.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's 1 monastery, 2 monastery. 3 monastery.
Ooh.
Andy hasn't fixed his villager that's been stuck on his stone for the last 2 minutes, by the way. That is 1 villager that's basically been idle.
Oh yeah. Well, it won't show up, right?
Yeah.
No, it's ugly.
The monastery in the front for Andy. We know Andy will have the stone soon. Andy will drop the castle. This is kind of what we expected. Monk's going to be created for
build.
now to get the relics.
Not the cleanest build by Andy, though.
I agree.
Oh, builds the castle very much to the front.
Yeah, and will Barles see this? Barles will know everything that we said. I'm sure he's watched a lot of games, both in gold and in platinum. And I could just tell from week 1 that Barles practiced. I don't know to what extent, but every map that he has played this whole season, he has been prepared for.
Nice.
And that castle will go up. He saw it was going up. He's going to quickly try and get these relics. And, you know, I like the defense, right? The fact that he's house-walled everything is kind of nice. He is exposed on the right, so hopefully that doesn't hurt him. But the eco's pretty clean for Barles, considering he's on 3 monasteries. Like, my eco would not look like this.
One lumber camp, maybe a second one could be something there.
And he just
The
lost
walls
a
look
villager
pretty
to a
clean.
wolf. Woo, woo, woo.
Oh, wow.
Something I think he could have avoided there as we see the
You
first
think?
conquistador.
And yeah, a relic worth roughly 1.5 villages on gold. But for Burgundians, also 1.5 villages on food. So consider this economy boosted by 9 villages for Barles now.
I mean, there's just so many monks from Barles. And Inquisition costs food. Conks won't be it. I think Barles has given himself a really nice position to have success here.
Cancel the conch. I don't think a third conch does anything. Oh, he even goes for more. What?
I mean, my eyes are lighting up right now. Because Barles needs the 3-0 to go playoffs.
Wow.
I don't know if Jordan's watching right now. It might be a little bit past his bedtime. What is it, like 9 p.m. for him?
Yeah, it's 2 hours past his bedtime.
Yeah, he's probably in his REM cycle right now. But, I mean, this is... The conch play won't be it. And there's not heavy monk commitment either from Andy. Barles just delayed his own stone income. He's going to go for atonement now. So he can convert enemy monks. And we know he can convert the conquistadors. Now, we also know conquistadors can shred monks if you're not looking. So
Yeah, but where would Barles look?
well, he might
There's
be
not
adding a
much going
farm,
on.
Nilly. He might be adding a farm. Obviously, he's going to expect them. Where would Barles look? Well, here we go. Here we go. Gets 1 conversion there. And tries to kill the other monk. Kills the other monk with it.
Wow. This is so good for Barles. This is incredibly good for Barles. And when we walked through scenarios, I didn't mention ever building more than 3 conchs.
Yeah.
If the opponent is going for mass monks.
But also, like, if it was Bohemians from Barles, yeah, okay, more monks. Portuguese, lots of monks. I mean, the list should go on. I'm sure other people can think of civilizations. Lithuanians, blah, blah, blah. I would have never thought 3 monasteries from Barles. I would have thought, like, light cav play with eco. So, I think for Andy, he kind of just felt like conquistadors could be really good because he never thought his opponent would try and compete in the monk war. Because who would try and compete in the monk war against Inquisition?
Well, maybe hoping to have the better economy there. Let's take a look. Now we have faith pretty further pretty soon. Monks will be faster chasing down those conchs. And look at the resources for Barles. 10 on stone. Very reasonable resources. And if he gets a castle up next to its gold and stone, he can trap down Andy quite easily.
Exactly. You get the castle in a forward position. And once that castle's up, you click up to the Imperial Age. I love the outposting, Nilly. The outposting is so smart. It helps you so much here. And Andy keeps trying to find opportunities. But he can't really find them, and it's too late to commit to more monks. So I think the best play for Andy now is just boom, but maybe even consider light cav.
But is that really the option?
Might be
Because
too
you will
late.
lose your castle. Like, you can't clean this up in Castle Age, I believe.
Yeah, maybe, especially if that castle for
Uh-oh,
Barles
uh-oh.
goes up soon. Oh, you can't escape now, Andy. Oh, he cannot escape.
Give me stone gates. Oh, Kongs from the back, though. Oh, this is risky by Barles as well.
This is so fun right now. Oh, no.
I'm scared for both.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I guess
Conversion.
since the stone walls are so weak, Andy could actually just shoot one down. Look how far away he's going. He's terrified of those monks.
Yeah.
He could
I
shoot the
think-
wall down.
Barles could just wall behind, and then he knows he is buying himself a lot of time.
Yeah.
This castle could be 2 tiles further forward, I believe.
Yeah, it could be. It could also be 10 tiles further forward if we really stretch the possibilities. I think this is okay, though, right?
Yeah, certainly. It controls the gold. It allows your trap to be protected to trap the other castle.
And there go the conks. Conks are coming back. They would have to run through monks to go home. And wow, the monk control from Barles. He has just as many conquistadors as Andy does, and they both click up to the Imperial Age.
Oh, man. But yeah, big timing difference. Plus extra villagers, I thought. But no, Andy actually ahead there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Wheelbarrow is in for Barles. Should mention that. I feel like the eco setup, though, pretty good for Andy, too. I'm looking at his farming eco. I was not expecting this on the back of all this.
And Barles can now go for a conk raid. And I don't think Andy will expect that from a Begatin player.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're exactly right. Like, in your game plan right now, you're probably thinking add monasteries, add monks. But those conks are going to be through, and those conks could walk right through to the gold, maybe. Wow, that imp time is just so good from Barles. What a play. That is such a good play. Even petarding now, Nilly, so he can break through faster with these conquistadors.
What an investment. Okay, they're going through. And obviously Andy doesn't see it. Andy doesn't know. He has no vision there.
I think he
Some
knows he's
walls?
going to lose the front. He's getting Inquisition now. But, oh, no. He's not going to have any
know.
monks.
One dead.
Wow.
2 dead.
Oh, man. And then, yeah, good luck coming to kill what used to be your friends, because you're going to be switching sides as well pretty soon, these conquistadors.
And block printing is in. Now Inquisition is in as well, but with 4 monks in the queue, none out on the field. This will get dicey for Andy.
Barles just read Andy like a book here. He knew what the strategy would be. He knew it'd be strong, but he picked a great economic civ. And I think Andy's completely toast here.
Looks like it will reach Imperial Age, but so many villagers dying. Those monks happily taking over some more conversions. Barles now leading by 20 population, and yeah, the castle will go up, but losing the castle at the front hurts so much.
Yeah, it does, and all the momentum is lost for Andy. He won't have the economy to recover. Barles does have a solid enough economy to possibly go for things other than monks if he wished to. I don't see a reason why you would, though, when you have such a numbers advantage, and this is clearly going to be a monk and conquistador war.
Okay, now the power of Spanish, though. I said it earlier, monk v monk, but the numbers are just so much better for Barles.
Yeah, not to mention the monastery positions are so tricky. But if you weren't Spanish and you didn't have Inquisition researched, you would have no chance from here. Inquisition
Yeah,
could
yeah.
maybe snowball things more than Barles would expect.
Yeah, and look at that. Andy is somewhat holding.
Yeah. Still has monks around, killing some of the leftover conquistadors. Behind this, Barles with another castle. I really like that, though. And has the Trebs ready to take new targets. And he actually had saved some of his relics and moved them back, which is smart thinking. He is well behind in eco, though. 75 villagers versus 60.
And might lose a town center there. Barles has now no need to really push, I believe. I think he should be fine with like castle setup, 6 traps. He should not be broken. This is the moment where I think you want to even go for a 4th town center and tech into non-monk units.
Interesting, okay. You know what I would do? I would buy 300 stone, get fletching, and I just build the next castle right where that forward treb is. I just keep doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I suck at the transitions. At this point, I'm like, it's easier for me to push it than it is to not. Now, I think he actually has the eco to simultaneously do what you said and add another TC. He could possibly
The
do
crazy
it.
thing for Andy, typically you have all your gold and stone to the front. Andy has a really fortunate spawn. How his 1 gold is spawning more to the top than to the actual front and towards Barles.
Also, what else is kind of funny is the area where Barles came through before is still open. And Barles just thought of this. Barles is actually going to head over there to wall that, but I guess Conks could always go through. Oh, this still feels so rough for Andy, right? He's going to lose his monasteries. He doesn't have enough trebs to take out the castle, and he can't make more trebs. Conks are in, though.
It's 3 TCs set up there. Look, where would they even try to go?
Yeah. Maybe you just run underneath the TC and hope that Barles doesn't notice here.
Maybe. Score's not looking pretty. You have to know that you need to take risks, but look at Barles. He was watching.
Yeah, seriously was. So, great awareness from Barles. He probably noticed he lost that villager. The monks simply come home. These conks may end up not finding much more value. So, they could just be converted. So, Andy might even need to consider deleting them here. I think he should.
I think so as well.
But if he
Gives
deletes
one
them,
away
it's like,
to
what does he have?
a dream.
Yeah, a dream that... I mean, for him staying up in Platinum League would have been the dream, possibly. I don't know. I didn't ask him specifically. But, like,
He
prior
said
to
that
group
even
stage.
after the win against Terra, he said, yeah, I'm not dreaming of first spot. I'm trying to stay
alive.
Platinum.
Yeah, yeah. Which we know Andy's not going to be first now. We know he'll be second. Still really good. And I'm excited to see him in the playoffs. But for Barles, like, a lot could change. There's a prize pool difference for him if he ends up getting into the playoffs versus not.
Yeah.
But then he's playing amazing Age of Empires. So
Absolutely.
he could definitely beat the next player and potentially move on and make a deep run. Nilly, I didn't expect this. I think we both thought that there was no way there'd be a 3-0 in this series because both players were so good, right? But
If there was the 3-0, we would have expected Andy, yeah.
yes, yeah. But now this is Andy's home map. So if Andy can't get the job done here, Barles should be really prepped for the next game, and this might be the final fight. The Lightcav swoop in. Lots of monks are blue right now, but all the blue monks will die. 2-0 for Barles to close out Group C, and this next game matters so much for Barles and Jordan. Oh my goodness.
So sick. So sick.
Wow. So he knew it would be forward castle. He knew it would be conks or monks, and he just ecoed really well there. Held and adapted to whatever he was going to see from his opponent, right? And then built that forward castle for the fast stamp. That was amazing.
And Andy simply built
Too many conks.
too many. I wanted to give you a number. It's just like build 2 and then stop.
Yeah.
That's the play.
Yeah.
And then just full monks. And as we saw, right? FreakinAndy had crazy monk fights or monk trades.
Yep.
Ay.
He actually, Andy did do a similar thing when he played Jordan on this map, where he was Portuguese, forced his opponent into like redemption and whatnot. And I'm saying as I'm casting, like, you've made enough to scare your opponent, simply just go monks. He was a little late to monks in that game as well. So for those that say Andy wins through monks, he has not been getting his wins through monks. He's been getting his wins through other means in this group. Live standings now, we have Hera at 12, finished, of course. We've got Andy at 9. We have Jordan at 9. And then we have Barles at 8 with 1 game to go. And that, I guess that would mean if Barles does pull off the 3-0, there'd be 3 players tied at 9, which is a whole nother thing, and that's crazy. But holy crap, what a series. I'm excited, Nilly. I'm very excited for this next game. Here we are, Game 3. This is the final game in Group C. And this is a big one, just to repeat the stakes. If Barles wins this, he goes to the 3rd place spot, pushing Jordan down to 4th. And thus that would mean Barles goes to the playoffs. Barles has played so good this season. Let's see if he can do it. He's Franks here on Lands Madness. and he's up against the Chinese, which historically has been a really tricky matchup for the Franks, Nilly.
Simply the option that Chinese can go for camels makes it tricky. They have so many easy transitions. It feels like, especially Barles, might be one of the big inventors and revolutionizing this matchup in the sense that he played mass onager halberdier in Imperial Age, especially on Arabia. But this is obviously tougher in this one. And we have a lot of Andy fans, but I think the biggest Andy fan right now is Jordan.
Yeah, especially because Jordan lost to Andy, and he lost to Andy when Andy was playing as the Chinese on Land Madness. So Jordan is going to be like, you did it to me, bro. Please do it to Barles as well, and then I'm fine. I can go to the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. In a closed scenario, like something like Pike Onager or Pike Mangonel could be really strong. But Lance Madness, it feels more like you're going to be using mobile units, which is going to be scouts at the start for Franks. But if Andy can hold on, it's like when you get to Camel, Knight, Crossbow, that full combination with the safe Chinese eco, the Franks just really can't compete all that well.
It feels like Franks is a bit on a timer, right? You know Chinese will have the better economy. They're in late feudal age. Once everything's stabilized, their techs are better. Camel's just so nice on this mobile map. And it feels like there are very few players that really play this very comfortable. Doubt might be one, Mr. Yo might be one, but the rest of the players, I always feel like they are in their head a lot if they are in this matchup.
I would still like to see, despite the potential weaknesses of the matchup, opening with your strongest option, which would be scouts. There's still potential there. You still have the HP bonus if you're Franks, and of course, building all those farms with free horse collar feels really smooth. Also, I feel like taking advantage of the second berry bush, that is something that the Franks can do. Chinese, it might be a bit more awkward there. Like, I think I would be more prone to farm with the Chinese instead of taking the second berries. So there's more of a spike perhaps here for the Franks than we might see on Arabia, where players could wall a bit more and there wouldn't be the second berry bush.
I'm even thinking, like, if you feel like, okay, you're Chinese and you're probably getting pressured by the Frank player, don't you maybe want to go for the berries in the front first and then the berries in the back? If Andy says no, it's actually likely that he doesn't go for the front berries at all.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess for something I have found is that I really struggle with the balance with the amount of villagers I need on wood and like straggler trees and my farm transition if I'm going second mill. And like, I've seen Viper go second mill. I've seen like Dogao, Miguel go second mill, all these guys. But like, I noticed, I think Hera, and he's kind of maybe a bit more well-known for this. He's just like, farm. Just farm it up, right? So I think it's definitely a player preference thing. But you just don't want to get into a situation where you've had like 5 villagers on one berry area, 5 villagers on the other, and suddenly you run out of one, and then you don't have the wood to farm because you've had so much on the berries.
Yeah, no, it needs to be more natural transition, having 3 on one, then sending 3 on the other one, and constantly continue your farming, and don't ever have like 6 on one berry bush.
Yeah.
That could be pretty disastrous for sure.
Yep. Well, build's looking pretty good for Barles, 19 pop. Both players have pushed in as much food as possible. They know this is going to be a scout war. And Andy's idle TC time has been really smooth here, just 20 seconds. I think what makes Chinese so strong on this map is the start is almost always smooth because of the berry bush underneath the TC here.
Yeah. 2 extra villagers, therefore guaranteed. Still keeps on pushing in the deer, and it feels like a double scout opening here. And what is that barracks placement? It's inside. It's next to the wood line.
Huh?
On the stone by Barles?
So I
didn't
guess
know that you could build there.
that's weird. That is very weird. Yeah, it's normally the area that he built on that you shouldn't be able to build on. Maybe it's to the right of the barracks.
Should be 2 tiles for space there, right? Weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he can wall fully to that stable, that is not intended. We'll see if he does that. I assume, like, I would have made my stable on the barracks if I could have done that. And yeah, I wouldn't be walling the wood line like he is now, so I assume that that is still an area that cannot be walled. Big sigh of relief for me, honestly, that that's the case, because that would be an issue. Scouts on the way from Barles, and will be scouts from Andy.
Andy is still pushing deer. He still didn't find his opponent. Sends one spearman out now and pushes deer number 7 or something.
Wow. I like it. I really like it. Because you know it's scouts. You always know. If it's like another civ, maybe, don't know. On this map, it is always scouts. So why not? Just get as much food as possible, be as greedy as possible. And now's the time where you have to think about small walling in your wood line, because that's when scout number 2 and 3 could be coming forward.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised how openly he's playing it still.
Yeah,
and,
true.
And especially with the spearman going to the front.
Yeah.
This could be tricky for Andy.
Yeah, I agree. It would make more sense to maybe have the walls up on the wood lines and some defensive spearmen. He is scouting more with the spearmen than he is his own scouts at the moment. Andy, are you crazy, bro? Are you crazy? Small wall your villagers here, my friend. He's just going to make the spears.
Woodline is open. Ooh, blacksmith now by Barles. For the archer range. Double spearmen here. One is getting attacked, but Barles backs off.
I like it. I love the blacksmith choice. It's like, just give me some extra attack. Let me keep the lead with this scout. Let him make the spears. Let him dream of camels, but I will have the stronger scouts. But it could so easily go wrong, right? You take one too many hits, and then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have made so many scouts against this.
Spearman's still really good, even if you have the attack upgrade there. And still no archer range from either player. Neither player on gold as we speak. Mainly scout spearmen.
Still wild to me that Andy has decided to neglect the walling on the woodlines, because then you just have to have the spearmen to protect the berries, right? But he sees it. Barles is going to take a fight here, because the spearmen are all split up, and he will kill 2 spearmen here. But there's going to be more spearmen on the way. He only killed 1, excuse me, and Andy happy to play open, happy to just play with army, which is kind of what this map is intended for. And there he house walls very nicely, and he's in a good spot with the Chinese right now, Nilly. This is what you would want to have survived to this point.
It's crazy. Like the ideal timing to wall is that you finish exactly before the army comes in of the opponent. And this is exactly what Andy just did.
Yeah, seriously, it feels like you and I think it's safe to say, would not have taken these risks.
No
we
way.
would have pre-walled, and we would still make the spearmen.
And still lose 2 villagers on the farms.
Yeah. I think the only thing that's comparable with us to Andy at this point is the fact that we would have lost the first 2 games to Barles. The scouts out here. Barles, 6 scouts. Andy's building up his own number. And the eco is going to be ridiculous in the long run. Barles maybe needs to think of more in feudal, or maybe take the foot off the gas after seeing so many spears, and think about the castle age.
And Andy actually goes for the second berry bush now, but only with 2 villagers. Now the archer range. Wild question? CA question mark?
I love CA.
Map?
I love cav archers against Franks. Almost regardless of civ. Almost. There's exceptions, obviously.
Incas.
Yeah, okay. Well, there it's not even a choice, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to say no right now, because the range is up at a time where he still hasn't clicked up, so I think crossbow feels more natural, but...
Yeah.
Great defense from Andy. Oh, man, this is so good for Andy, and this is so good for Jordan right now.
Jordan fans have to really pray. If they want to see Jordan in the playoffs, in a big match, they have to hope that Andy's winning this game. Mark it now.
Barles, he knows about the range. And he is going to click up to the next stage. He will be very exposed against Archer Spearman play if the units come forward. You know what I just kind of been reminded of here is that game that Ganji had against Hera, where he never moved forward with his spears and like the potential. I feel like Andy, he's thinking very defensively because of the matchup. He's producing a lot. He's getting a lot of upgrades. I'm curious on if he'll be able to get forward with the proper timing.
7 scouts now with Bloodlines. He's jumping those 2 spearmen.
The good news for Barles is he does actually have the stone still. He hasn't sold that to click up. But the archers for Andy are coming forward, and spearmen are coming up forward as well. This is going to be tough to defend for Barles.
Uh-oh. Gold walled in though. Archer resting at the front, and those spearmen of Barles are really low on HP.
Yeah, villagers on berries exposed. Andy could go for kills there. And Barles, no quick walls there. Doesn't really have the spearmen around. That should be one dead Vill. All right, so 1-1 on the Vill KD. Andy still hasn't clicked up. We have a minute or so until Barles is in the next stage. If he can make the knights, he could be okay here. He's going to tower his wood line, which means he cannot tower the gold as he sends more villagers over to the gold.
Tricky. Now we see Andy buying himself castle age as well, so difference of only 2 minutes while having all the aggression at the front. Oh, this is tricky for Barles, being pushed away from lots of his farms.
It is tricky for Barles, but if he can use the scout still, and then the knights over the next 2 minutes, then it could be tricky for Andy because Andy has a lot of his army forward, and a lot of that army forward for Andy isn't immediately threatening Barles. Especially if Barles has a tower and some spearmen, I could see it being very difficult for there to be any damage there. And the scouts finding some value, killing a villager here, Andy, and then knights are on the way for Barles.
Tricky. Can you jump here? Second tower afforded, bought himself the tower next to the gold. And this feudal age army, does it need to jump now to get any efficiency out of it?
Look at the quick walls now from Andy. Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? Because you feel confident in Archer Spearman. Feel like if the tower wasn't there, obviously, is a dive. But maybe you just save the army now. This is wild, man. This is such a good game. Now, remember, Camel's still an option for the Chinese, so it feels like Barles still needs to find some kills to feel comfortable. Especially because the food eco. The farms still haven't expired because they're Chinese farms. Actually, gold eco, which is a bit of an issue right now for Andy, but he does have a market, so I'm sure he'll be okay.
Spearman can now take the fight against the 4 knights. Doesn't take the fight with the whole army, though, and now the scouts are arriving as well. Feels like Andy is getting cleared up here completely.
Yeah, so Archer's no longer an option. Scouts maybe won't be able to offer too much, though Andy runs away, and now Andy goes into the camels. Still, 40 villagers for Andy, 39 for Barles. Barles will drop Monastery at home. I think Barles, in this matchup, still needs to try and press his window here. He still has more army that at least I could consider threatening. Sorry. That's a lot of spears for Andy, though, and he's upgrading to pikes. Barles will kill a Vill, and he moves away immediately. Wow.
Nice move.
Yeah,
Only
really
4
nice
villages on gold right now. So camel production can't be too wild. Pikes are spreading out. Oh, this is tricky. But obviously Barles, with the double investment into the towers, his TCs will be delayed by quite a bit.
Yeah, his TCs will be delayed. He is healing up his knights, though, which I think is a nice touch. I love the second TC from Andy. That will solve the gold problem we just discussed, and it also gives him a lot more vision in an open area. It was a little risky, but it wasn't risky in that he knew where his opponent was with the knights. A good game
getting
sense.
Some damage done. Unlikely to find a kill here. Would really need husbandry. Not the greatest micro.
Light cav from Andy at the same time. Barles reacts because, of course, why not? These guys are insane right now. Andy pulling ahead, though, I think, with 2 TCs and with camels on the field. Barles needs to find some good engagements. Do you try and add the second TC? Do you go pikes? Like, what's going through your mind right now if you're Barles?
You see, you can't really find damage, and that's why you send some villagers onto stone. I think this has to be a 3TC play, unless you want to go mass pike, monk, and add a forward siege workshop, but I think this is really risky.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree. I think he would have had to have already had the position. A monk for him could be really valuable to convert a camel here. And Andy's still got light cav here. Andy's going to go in to kill the monk. Will get the kill. Has to back away. Well played, Andy, there.
Loses one light cav in exchange. Could maybe lose a second one. Yeah, he will.
Like, he could have taken... Remember that fight? It's actually to the right of the knights now, where the bodies still are. He could have taken that fight with all of his scouts there and taken a better trade, but he knew how important those scouts would be. Oh, my God.
Oh, the big knight army is coming in. And the pikemen. They're missing the whole army.
Yeah.
Barles now going back, jumping for that monk.
And Barles does have one relic right now. Relic's less important on this map, I would say, than other maps. I think both players should consider the pike upgrade. That is a lot of knights, though. Oh, my God. Feels like the knights could kill those pikemen.
Feels like it. Only now the first armor upgrade, trying to chase this one down. Andy, if he doesn't want to lose all those pikemen without fighting back, he needs to take the fight now.
Yeah, and then if you take the fight, you're probably going to lose the fight. And the camel number's not that high for Andy. And Barles with a very nice clear up here. He's got 2-1 KD. Again, Jordan fans probably freaking out a little bit. Because when they saw 2 TCs for Chinese, they thought that Andy was going to be okay.
Monk play now really important. Obviously, Chinese and Frank's not the craziest Monk civs, but if you have that much cavalry on the field, addition of those makes a lot of sense. And we see some conversions coming in.
No pikeman upgrade for Barles. Knights are just switching sides nonstop here, but Barles, you can tell he's gotten some intent to kill. He wants to just pressure this nonstop. I mean, eventually the stable's going to go down, which means Andy will need to repair this. 21 knights for Barles here. Oh, and he got a knight on the wood line at the same time. He killed quite a few vills there.
3 dead already. Aiming for a 4th one. We'll get it.
No way. What is happening here? Barles with 2 town centers behind this. He takes out the stable. Andy's just really struggling to get the actual army mass. But what he does have is he's got 5 monks. And as long as those monks are safe underneath the TC, they can always get a conversion. And then always, you know, wait a little bit longer and get a new one. So I guess that's the key for him to hold. Wow.
Each workshop rather far away, I would think. Maybe on the hill could have been an option.
Oh,
Andy
man.
builds a really good counter army, though.
Yeah, Andy, he could maybe surround all of this. He's lost a few more villagers. Barles going for the attack upgrade, which I think is amazing here. Could be really helpful upgrade to get. Lots of knights underneath the TC from Andy. And Barles might need
Is he really going for the town center?
Seems like it. It's kind of, sort of not working here. He has to run away. And this might be good for Andy because Andy could kill the monks. Actually, wait. Andy's losing his monks.
And the last attack actually might be paying off here.
Yeah.
Then 4 hits the monks.
Also, there's still knights that have found kills. Barles has killed 17 villagers. He's got the main group and all the craziness with that, but then he has also had random knights finding other kills in the exposed areas.
Man. This was so good for Andy, though. Like, so many knights were lost, the monks were lost, all the aggression kind of gone.
Oh man, husbandry's needed for these knights so the knights can get away. Knights now running away for Barles. Now Barles has the siege workshop position. He's making scorpions there. If he had pikemen, if it was like 2 barracks pikemen with the knights, I'd really like it. But Andy still has the eco lead, and Andy is held.
Crazy, 10 villages ahead, more monks are dying. Conversion count now 7 to 6, so not a crazy difference. But it just feels like it's taking so much damage potential away from Barles.
Well, okay, this is going to be nuts. Both players are going to make a castle, and it will decide the future of Barles and Jordan in this group. It's going to happen soon. Like, really, really soon.
And you know where Andy wants to build his castle. Right next to 2 scorpions and a knight and a scout already prepared.
Well, he's going to take gold there for the time being. The knights for Barles are really weak, but he's been able to save them here.
Okay, could be healed up.
Oh, Andy's eco was looking so good. I'm still not seeing camel production. Camels would be his savior here. Oh, no way Barles kills that monk with a scout. No way he kills that monk with a scout. Whoa.
And no way he's serious about this castle. Andy, no way!
Andy's going to have to back this one up here, Nilly. He's going to have to back this one up. That's a lot of army from Barles. It's just been consistent knight production. There's not enough in the way of defense here. There's villagers exposed even if he's doesn't try and build his castle here.
More than double the army value. Monk still helping out here. Camels wasted. Is it really? This is one of the biggest upsets we have seen in group stage history over all tournaments, honestly. That Jordan going into this position actually might not make playoffs.
The final week, yeah, we felt like Jordan gets 2 wins. There's no way that Barles can 3-0 FreakinAndy. Not the guy who's been sitting in first for the last 3.5 weeks. But this group has been so insane, and the aggression from Barles has been so good. Nearly, again, an example of it, right? He's got the main group locked down, already has 3 knights, looking for more kills, keeping Andy just constricted back here. Andy's just stuck.
And saying it last week, I told you, Barles and Vallas, the 2 superstars that we never talk about, top 15 players that are basically one big tournament run away from finally getting the recognition. And maybe this is the start for Barles here.
The 3 knights immediately find kills. How many times has this happened? Andy just has to respect that main army so much. As he clicks up to Imp, Andy's not finished yet. Imperial Age could definitely change something here because Barles is nowhere close. And actually, Barles, I can understand why he's placing his castle there. But I would have liked... I think had he maybe forced the castle down more to the left between the TCs, it would have been way more damaging to Andy.
Maybe thinking... I don't know. Yeah, left side. Maybe it gets trapped easier.
But yeah, and it's
gold
just
control
awkward
is
too.
not great. We have 700 gold left for Andy. That's it.
Well, it's a good thing he's already on Pikeman then. I would say Halb and Trebs have to be your opening then, right? It just feels like the obvious one. Camels wouldn't work. Chukunu's always a good addition in the long run. But I think maybe step 1 has to be getting some more Pikemen out. He is doing that. Could always use a couple more barracks here. He's going to lose his market, lose his houses. Barles is all over him. Barles still hasn't clicked up. But Barles has a really expansive eco behind this.
Ooh, Rams in the queue, 10 builds in the queue.
And
Okay.
look at the left side, Millie. Look at Andy on the left. He needs gold and stone. He's giving up the right, but he's defending with some monks. Has to be careful with them, but I mean, if he will be an imp this much faster, with 2 castles on Chukunu and the potential for Halb, Barles could still lose this game.
Now on the way to Imperial Age is Barles. Obviously, if we get to Cavalier, if we maybe get to Paladins, it's basically impossible for Andy to have a good fighting army that can also chase all this down. What is happening with those monks?
He was distracted. He was very distracted there. He was microing the Chukunu, and attack round there from Barles as well. Kills a lot of those monks. And I think Barles should do the same thing he's done all game. Just spam the crap out of knights. There's no reason to change right now.
Yeah, he just paused for a small second, trying to gather the resources to go up to Imp, and now is back to production. 7 knights in the queue. Does he only have 2 stables, though? Seems like it.
Yeah, he might add more. Pike number is growing for Andy. He'll also be on Halb, which means the knights cannot take good trades. You just have to avoid those engagements. There will be a Treb for Andy. There is now. And, you know, with more stables going up for Barles and his opponent being on Halb, it's again just like a sign of how hard it is to win with the Franks versus the Chinese. Andy he's struggled a little bit at times, but he still is good eco. He still is a great army comp.
Behind this, rally count 4 for Barles, 1 for FreakinAndy. But as you mentioned earlier, most of the time this one is decided by map control. Who gets more of the neutral gold spots? And it feels like Barles is doing a beautiful job expanding behind it, getting more castles on strategic points. And I think Barles already did a lot of damage on the right-hand side. Now it's just the task to take away the gold on the left.
I would, if I'm getting trebbed in the middle right now, and I've got control of the right, and I see this castle on the left, my heart would sink a little bit. That would be my oh no moment, because it's like, ooh, I didn't know he was there with all that eco. I don't know if I can immediately do anything about that. And then it makes me think, do I need chemistry for hand cannons? And then, of course, hand cannons cost the resources that knights cost, so it could take away from that.
Barles, not too impressed by this. Just decides to go for some raids. Knights around, taking the fight against the Halberdiers here, and that's a lot of exposed villagers here once the Halberdiers are dying. But Halberdiers really good against Castle Age units.
Yeah, and at some point, you need... Like, in Castle Age, you could take trades with Knights versus Pikes. You cannot go with Knights against Halbs. Now, Cavalier will trade a little bit better. What is this Knight doing? Getting stuck on the edge of the map. But yeah, I mean, good news from Barles, obviously, is he didn't fully commit everything to saving that castle. And he still has the castle on the right, which will buy him time. The bad news, though, 30 Halbs for Andy, and it's going to be Chukunu Halb. This is actually where what you mentioned earlier in the cast, Onager, would be really helpful.
Yeah. And I would be saying, okay, most Frank players are pretty helpless in this situation. I think Barles will be one of the best in the world playing Franks from this spot. We've seen it in tournaments before. I think he is going for Paladins first, but he will know how to play from here.
He's got 50 on gold, Nilly. 50. That's not a joke. Well, 47, but you count the relics. We can call it 50 as he finds villager kills on the left side.
Massive amounts.
You know, listen, if you're Andy, though, stop stabilizing the sides. Find a crucial area in the middle with all those Halbs and Shukanu. You just push. You do not want to... You will be raided nonstop in this game because you do not have the sides locked down. You just have to push middle and stabilize where you can, when you can.
Oh, not easy, though. So many villagers dying here. Look at that. 48-2. Eco KD right now. And the push through the center. I think maybe 1-2 bombard cannons. And then you're starting this push quite easily.
Yeah, he's getting masonry now, Barles, to keep the castles up a little bit longer. So active. Like, still hasn't lost the Cavalier on the left. Sees the army. Where are the bomber cannons being created from?
Each workshop in the center. Between the two castles.
Oh, yep. Yeah, perfect spot, but you need your own castle fire to protect you here, and you would need fletching and bodkin on your castles. He's getting fletching now. Andy needs to go in for that bomber cannon if he sees it. He sees it. Barles attack rounds, gets a shot, and now Paladin's in. Do you just take it? If you've got Paladin, if you're Barles.
I think just microing your bombard cannon is good enough. You don't need to take this fight, I believe.
Okay. That's true. The Chukunu can't get anywhere close.
Trap, sitting the bombard cannon. No, listen.
Wow, and that's good heads-up play there, right? Because you're not expecting Andy to use his trebs for that, as he does actually take out one of the bombard cannons.
One trap died as well. Castle needs to stay alive.
Bombard cannon's down.
Another bombard cannon falls.
Bombard cannon's down. Andy's at 200 population with 80 army, Nilly. 80. This is not a joke.
Paladins taking the fight from the hill. 30 paladins on the field. 11 more in the queue. Where are the hand cannoneers? They are needed there. The castle needs to be held. It feels like halberdiers are running out of numbers here. Bombard cannon arrives and those traps are going to fall. The castle will stay alive. And Barles is about to take the population lead back again for himself.
Yeah, he will. We've got a castle from Andy. He's got something to say about this. But it feels like the timing's all wrong for Andy, right? He's going to lose his trebs. This castle on the left is then just going to be a target for Barles. And Barles can now focus more on the raids. As he does in the south, Andy even quick walls it on the couple trees that are left. Still giving himself an opportunity, but ridiculous game here as Barles goes for the death comp now. Bombard cannons, hand cannons, and paladin. You would not see this on Arabia. You would not see this on most of the maps in this tournament. This is just purely due to the map control he's gained himself and all the gold on Land Madness.
Now the healing. I wouldn't even mind. Isn't this a spot to maybe put some of your paladins into the castle? Paladin medicine?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you can think about that detail, I think he's still in spam paladin, move paladin mode.
Yeah.
And that's the mode he should be in right now. And he should continue that from all sides here. Just 16 Chukunu for Andy, and those 16 Chukunu are actually in the castle. If he's only on Halb, the hand cannons from Barles will be able to get this done.
Oh man, and it seems like the castle's falling, and that's conscription cancelled as well. Very unlikely that Andy will realize quickly that this one was cancelled.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. And Andy's still got to be so paranoid of that right-hand side. Still got to be paranoid of this middle area as Barles creeps forward. And Barles, he can now go for the snowball push. He just has to be careful with his bombard cannons. He just lost one.
Tricky. Hand cannon is obviously really lovely with this one as well. Good bombard cannon, ground attack. Some Harpier raid at the right-hand side. Might actually find some villager kills. But you talked about the death ball that Chinese need to get to. It feels like now the Frank player is actually putting it on the map.
Yep. And a lot of it comes down to how good the Chinese eco is, and Halbs cost food and wood, and Chukunu is the only gold unit, right? It's double gold comp for Barles, which is extremely expensive, but he's been able to take good enough trades and have the big enough eco to do this now. And a big fight. Andy has to defend this area. He cannot lose this left-hand side without having the right. And it feels like he might be able to take the traps, but he's going to lose all of his army to this.
One trap still alive, another bombard cannon behind this. Harbinger numbers are shrinking quite heavily. Andy drops below pop 160, and Paladin numbers reign supreme.
Wow. And there's nothing to change into now either, right? It has to be more Halbs. It has to be more Chukunu. There's a few blacksmith upgrades you could possibly consider, but it really just feels like momentum at this point. And Barles has had momentum ever since early Castle Age. Even if he was behind in villagers, he had that momentum. Ridiculous play from Barles. Andy needs a big fight. Maybe getting elite Chukunu if he can afford that. Rocketry could help a lot. But he's not floating that many resources right now.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. It is so wild, this game. Look at all the red on the minimap here.
Yeah, he sees everything, Nilly. He sees everything. I love how
So
Barles was
constricting.
like, I'm going to save my best for the very last, and I'm just going to shock everybody. Against the guy who beat Hera, beat Jordan, you know, is going to be second place.
Let the opponents hype each other up, and then I will take it away from them.
I mean, Andy has not had a bad series, right? Andy's had an amazing series. He's had an amazing showing. He's earned himself a lot of fans. Oh, interesting fight. The Paladin's getting caught out in the back there for Barles. But he's still pushing, and he has 20 more Paladins in queue. And he can always make Paladins with the gold income he has.
How many stables does he have now? I think he's down to 3 stables again. And should not have chivalry.
Well, he's got 4 that I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have chivalry. You're right.
Oh, he has at least 5, but only producing out of 3 as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, if he loses this game, we could go back to lack of production. But Chinese not having bomber cannon hurts so much right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm surprised Andy's population is 180 right now. I feel like Barles just needs to see the left-hand side, which he's castling now, and then 30 villagers will drop for Andy.
Oh, man. So many Paladins around the starting TC of Andy, who still didn't fully mine his main gold. Now takes another fight here. Harbinger still really good against Paladins.
Chukunu should do pretty well against the hand cannons, but the hand cannons still do amazing damage output, and there's more of them. And there's the bomber cannons to help.
Castle will fall, though, against 4 traps on a hill.
Population 195 for Barles, 190 for Andy. Andy still has access to every resource except stone. You could still see it happening. He just took out 1 castle.
Medicine, hello!
Herbal medicine, and then Andy has been found on the left, Nilly. So he's just like...
Villager rush! Villager rush against herbal medicine. What are we witnessing?
Yeah, he should have done this last game when he was Spanish. I don't think there's any bonuses at play here. As Barles will dive with the Paladin. He will find the traps, the Chukunu, the villagers, and we might see the GG here, Nilly, which would send Jordan into 4th place position, meaning Jordan would miss playoffs, and we see Barles in a few days in the playoffs. There it is.
Crazy scenes here. FreakinAndy, GG, well played. Congrats to Barles.
What in the world? What a series and what a group. It will be Hera first, FreakinAndy second, Barles third, Jordan fourth, and then Ganji and Land, the 2 players relegated out of Group C. What a finish. Wow. And what a game, Nilly. I really felt like when Andy was on camels and pikes and monks and had the second TC up faster, I just felt like, I'm out of ideas for Barles. I don't know what he can do. But he just said, I'll just do the one thing I do really well with Franks. Make a ton of knights and a ton of eco and a ton of map control.
And Jordan will be so hurt that he lost that Golden Pit game against Lan.
Yeah.
Lan played 15 games, one only win against Jordan today. If that would have been 0-15, we would have had Jordan as third and he would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's kind of interesting about it? In order to get all the games done and, keep things moving along, we've had players play at different times. So we casted Jordan Land earlier as live series, but FreakinAndy and Barles was apparently played yesterday. So they didn't tell anybody that, right? They weren't allowed to say, speak the result. But Barles obviously would have known that he needed Land to get a win. And I really wonder if Barles was going into that series like, oh, there's no way Land wins. And then if he was jumping out of his chair when he saw Land get that win earlier.
Crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, so true. Barles had so little to play for, right? Because the guy that's already 0-12, you expect him to go 0-15.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
He played like this, expecting to still probably not get to playoffs because, who would have thought Land would have got that win? Incredible performance from him. I mean, take nothing away from Andy. Andy's going to be in second place. Andy's going to be in the playoffs as well. Excited to see more of both of these two. But, just ridiculous finish.
Some other info. If some people now feel like, okay, maybe Andy had a bad day yesterday. Oh boy, you couldn't be more wrong. Directly after playing this yesterday, he played a best of 5 against Nikov and won this 3-1 back-to-back sets.
Yep.
So yesterday, Andy was in tip-top shape. That just shows you how good Barles was.
Yeah, seriously. So let's, I don't know if Liquipedia is going to update, but I think first what's probably correct for me is just show the groups, and then we can also then talk about where Andy and where Barles will go in the playoffs, because those matchups will be important. Third place in this group will play second place in another group. That's how it's set up with all the players who are in second and third place. But just to say it one last time in terms of this group, since we're finished with it, Era 12, Andy 9, Barles 9, Jordan 8, and then Ganji 6, and Lan, of course, with 1. But a really important one in terms of everything else that's happened.
One. Yeah. And Andy just giving a message to the set. I even felt like I had decent games against Barles too. But for me, it felt like he played almost perfectly that set.
Okay, yeah. I mean, respect to Andy. Andy said after 3 rounds, he was like, I'm laughing, man. All these comments on your YouTube are just like, oh, I'm the next Viper or something. And he's like, I just want to survive. So what does this mean? Okay, so we still have to figure out the other 2 playoff spots as well as the winner in Group B. I think right now what it's looking like is ACCM is favored to be the winner of Group B, which would mean he goes into the quarterfinal spot. And then it will be either Veleza or Dogao as second or third. So it'll be Barles, Dogao. Again, most likely. We don't know. It could be Margugu, because Margugu has 2 sets. But let's just say, based on whatever numbers we have, Barles against Dogao or Barles against Veleza. And then FreakinAndy versus Dogao or FreakinAndy versus Veleza. In all honesty, Nilly, and feel free to tell me if you disagree with this, but with how Andy and Barles have been playing, regardless of who they play there in the playoffs, they will have a very realistic shot of beating whoever that is in a best of 5.
Barles against Veleza, my money is on Veleza.
Okay, but against Dogao, you think more...
It's 50-50. And Andy against Veleza, I think Veleza is better than Andy and Barles, and Dogao is kind of on the same level as Andy and Barles. Okay,
interesting. Yeah, I mean, Veleza, obviously a ridiculous player, but we'll see what happens there. We do have a couple other things to figure out here in TTL. Obviously, we have to figure out Group B. We also still have the fun storyline of who is relegated out of Group D. Because in Group D, we've got 2 more sets. Sobek is going to need a 3-0 versus Tato to have any chance at survival. And then Vivi Classic Pro, whoever wins that series is likely safe. And then whoever loses that series is to be relegated. And Vivi Classic Pro will actually be our next series. But yeah, just lots of cool sets here, man. This is what this whole format builds up to, right? Every game matters, and the final week's always ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely sick. Phew, Classic Pro against Vivi. That's going to be really interesting as well.
Can Sobek get a 3-0 versus Tato to make this final week even crazier?
Oh, that would be the next biggest upset.
I mean, Tata's already third place regardless.
Yeah, true. Tata has nothing to play for except money.
Yeah, money, pride, you know.
Mhm,
That's both those things are kind of nice.